Hello again and welcome to the Soccer Media Podcast. I'm John Shrader. This is our regular look at the soccer media business and the business of soccer. Special treat this time around. Major League Soccer host on Apple TV, Kevin Egan, and he's sort of stretching out in the business world, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. It is mid-April, and there's a lot going on, and Kevin has a lot to say about it. So thanks for being here, and hope you enjoy this conversation. One of the busiest men in television is Kevin Egan. He is the host of MLS 360 and MLS Wrap-Up on Apple TV here in 2026, as he has been since that venture started in 23. And as always, it's great to chat with you, Kevin. Thanks for the time.
Of course. Love chatting with you, John. Thanks for having me.
One of my favorite Irish American citizens in all of the world, and I will talk a little bit about your new venture in downtown Atlanta here in a couple of minutes. But I guess I'm not going to bury the lead in this. All the folks that I've talked with from Apple here in 26 have talked a little bit about the impact of taking away that extra paywall from the folks, those of us who watch the games on mostly our phones and our computers. But what's that been? What impact has that been, taking away that extra paywall and giving Apple subscribers a chance to see soccer?
It makes a world of difference for us. I can feel it. Quite honestly, I can feel it on MLS 360 when I promote, hashtag MLS 360. Let us know what you're thinking. Who's going to score the first goal tonight? Yada, yada, yada. I can see so many more people involved in the show. So I can feel that. It's a wonderful thing. It means that, friends and family over in Ireland that wouldn't be following MLS, that have Apple TV, now tune in and watch the show every now and then. So it's been a great move. The move, I could see why they did it at the beginning, but this makes sense.
Yeah. And I think what Apple has done, and again, I'm not promoting Apple, I've never worked for them, but I think what they've done is make the product available everywhere in the world. And as you know, when you're in Europe and you want to watch an American television show, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're in Bangkok or Beijing or Dublin, you can watch the product. And I think that is a really important thing to know about what's going on there.
Yeah, without a doubt. Take away the blackouts here in the US, everywhere around the world, tune in. And we're in the age of the individual blockbuster, the superstar. And we have been for quite some time now, but I think more so than ever at this moment in time. And you think about social media followings. And one thing that I found very interesting recently, I was thinking about Messi and James Rodriguez arriving in. And MLS has 3 of the top 5 most followed active superstars, active sports stars in North America. So way beyond any player from MLB, way beyond anyone from the NFL, way beyond anyone from NHL. The top 5 currently are Lionel Messi, number 1. You've got LeBron James and Steph Curry there, and you've got James Rodriguez and Luis Suarez. Then you think about Antoine Griezmann on the way with his 40+ million Instagram alone followers. Like Shohei Ohtani has 10 million. This puts it in perspective, just how big some of these stars are globally. And those eyeballs absolutely matter. When you're at home in France and you want to check in on how Antoine Griezmann's doing, you've got Apple TV. It's very easy to watch an Orlando game. Son Heung-min is the biggest Asian sports star on the planet. And people here in the US find that hard to believe because of Shohei Ohtani. But he is. He's a bigger star internationally than Shohei Ohtani. Thomas Mueller is a megastar, one of the greatest Germans of all time. So they bring massive eyeballs. And now MLS has found this beautiful mix, I think, of young South American stars, homegrown teenagers that are breaking onto the scene each and every week. As a storyteller on MLS 360, I'll tell you, John, nothing gives me greater pleasure than telling the stories of the homegrown stars coming through from the academies. Look at New York Red Bulls right now. Look at what they're doing with Julian Hall, who scored 6 goals this season, the same amount of goals as Lionel Messi, who had a couple of assists the last game and has shown a maturity to his game. Adri Mehmeti won't be around for long at Red Bulls because he's showing, again, a maturity that I didn't think was possible for a 17-year-old in the middle of the park. Real Salt Lake. No one said that Salt Lake City would ever be a hotbed for young talent, but look at the likes of Xavier Didier Gozo, who's named Didier after Didier Drogba. His father's from the Ivory Coast. Aiden Hezarkhani, another young talent, Diego Luna. So the list goes on of these young stars that we're telling the stories of each and every week. And you've got to find that mix, which MLS is now, of established mega stars around the world, young talent from afar, like South America, that you can then make a profit on if they're majorly successful, like Thiago Almada was. And then, of course, the homegrown talent too.
So I was going to ask you about the Messi effect, but I think you've already provided me some of that. I mean, I think Mueller, Son, Griezmann are part of the Messi effect as well. Maybe Messi was part of the Beckham effect. I'm not really sure, but I think those guys are that.
Can I jump in on that real quick?
Of course, yeah.
I think the Messi effect we're seeing even yesterday when Javier Mascherano leaves Inter Miami. He says for personal reasons. Tata Martino also left for personal reasons behind the scenes as well. We don't know what played out. All I do know is that the pressure to achieve in Major League Soccer, and especially at that club, quickly Inter Miami, and maybe Messi won't like this, and the Barcelona contingent, but they've become like the Real Madrid of Major League Soccer right now. The pressure is absolutely enormous from the ownership, from the fan base to succeed. They have succeeded. And yet Mascherano is still out the door from his own accord. So I'm massively intrigued. The stories have become intensified, I think, in many ways throughout the league. There's better stories to be told now than there was 10 years ago. I started broadcasting Major League Soccer in 2012, and I found that there wasn't a great diversity when it came to playing styles. Now the identities are there for all to see with how they play, the approach of the football clubs. There's just so much fun to be had with storytelling now.
And the conversation about professional soccer, Major League Soccer in this country, I mean, let's say notwithstanding the World Cup right now, right? Because the World Cup is a whole different animal in this conversation. But the media coverage, the national media coverage, the international media coverage. When I started working in Major League Soccer in 1996, that was considerably different.
Showing your age now, John.
Yeah. In 2012, a little bit different as well. So I think that's part of it as well, is that the conversation about soccer in America has increased in tone. And when Mascherano leaving becomes more than just an internal sort of inside soccer kind of thing, when it becomes a bigger story than that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There's so many aspects to this. I think the social media age has helped an awful lot when you have those viral sensations that are here, those clips go viral, the fact that there's no blackouts on Apple, like you say. But I just think that there's a lot to be said for playing in the US, playing in Canada as well with Major League Soccer. The facilities are top class. You're going to be paid on time. There's been issues with that in South America at times where players have told me that they came here. There's a great setup here. And now all we needed was more pressure. And I think that's starting to build here. And sometimes we're in the weeds, John. It's very difficult to tell when there's been this growth. But a moment, like yesterday, for example, Nashville going and winning at Estadio Azteca. First time we've ever seen an MLS team win at the Azteca. LAFC go and they beat Cruz Azul on aggregate, a 1-1 draw away from home. Cruz Azul were the champions of CONCACAF. So to see two MLS teams in the semi-final now, and we could see, we're taping this obviously before we see LA Galaxy and Seattle Sounders in action tonight. We could see 4 teams for Major League Soccer, even if we don't, even if it's just 2. To have those results that we had last night, for me, it's a massive milestone that needs to be mentioned.
And we're talking about CONCACAF, of course, and the competition there. And I suppose the ones who don't want to hear that are Mexico, Liga MX, which has been historically, maybe not contemporarily, but historically, the biggest dogs in the kennel in this region. And maybe they don't want to see that and hear that. And why is that happening?
And I think money-wise too, like they have probably, if MLS are allowed to have 3 designated players, I see it with Leagues Cup when they play each other in CONCACAF Champions Cup. You're talking about 9 or 10 designated players in terms of what these players are paid. So I think several reasons. I think Major League Soccer is really well run. and you've got really good ownership now that are looking after the way the club is pieced together, from the training facilities to the academy setup to the stadium itself. We're seeing so many improvements, even like Dallas, the improvements they're making to their stadium, the new soccer-specific stadia that we've seen around the country. Miami's is next level, and New York City and Chicago and now New England in Boston are trying to raise the bar yet again, and they're competing against each other for these brand new soccer-specific stadia. And you remember, in the early days of Major League Soccer, John, that was a distant dream to have a soccer-specific stadium like we had in Columbus for the very first time. And then what's happened since then? It's been an incredible era of growth, and I still think we're in a renaissance moment, Major League Soccer, and where we can go. The dreamers need to be the ones making the decisions, because we can really push the envelope. And back to the comparison of Liga MX, I think we're right there now. I think we're getting there. But the fan support, the passion for the game is so much greater in Mexico. In Mexico, you're born with this. This is what you grow up with. It's your religion in a way. Your team is everything to you. And we're still in a place in the United States, which is a beautiful thing as well, that we're competing against so many top sports that are the top. There's no better nation in the world for baseball. There's no better nation in the world, obviously, for NFL, American football, hockey. So it's a tricky landscape, but Major League Soccer has made enormous strides.
Okay, here's the moment in the program, Kevin, and where the crowd groans when I say, in Ireland, soccer is not hurling. It's not the national sport, but it's pretty damn important. Mm-hmm. And it was a pretty difficult thing to watch here not long ago.
This up, John. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I'm commiserating with you. Yeah. How about that? How difficult was that to watch that? And as it did, Ireland not going to be here for the summer.
Wild. I was at the Business of Soccer Summit. I was MC for the 2 days, and I was on stage, and the game had kicked off, and that was coming to a close soon. And I got out of there as quickly as I could, and I meant it with all due respect to everybody there. I just needed to get to a TV to watch this game. It was the biggest game as an Irish football fan since 2002, since we were last at the World Cup. That's what it felt like. And Troy Parrott and this group had really galvanized the nation, and a nation believed that we had every chance of going to Prague and winning, and then every chance of getting over the line against Denmark or North Macedonia in Dublin. So to fall the way they did, I got to the Brewhouse pub. I watched the game for a bit with Roger Bennett from Men in Blazers and a few other folks that were great people to watch a game with. And we're 2-0 up. By the time I got there, actually it was 2-1. The Czechs had scored, and then they obviously scored in the 86th and beat us on penalties. It was just so hard to take in a lot of ways. It's sport. It's what we sign up for. We sign up for the jubilation in equal measure to the heartbreak. It's what we do as sports fans. But in opening up an Irish pub next to the stadium, Ireland would have played in Atlanta. My family are all coming over. I had already booked a ticket to go back to Dublin for a potential playoff final. So I went back and spent 3 great days with my sister and brother and my parents, and all is wonderful, but it was just one of those ones that it was nearly too good to be true.
So I'm sorry. I'm not sorry I brought it up, because I think it was important to talk about, but I'm sorry it happened. But you mentioned opening an Irish pub next to the stadium. That's in Atlanta. Yeah. It's opening soon. Tell us a little bit about that venture.
So excited. It's going to be so much fun. It's called the Irish Exit. We're in Centennial Yards, which is a brand new entertainment district. Essentially, this was the Gulch. This was the parking lot that was underneath by Mercedes-Benz Stadium that was used for tailgates, a big open lot that apparently was one of the most difficult places to bring construction in all of Georgia. They've come in, CIM Group, and they've raised the entire Gulch. They've added an entertainment district, bringing in incredible vendors. We're talking Cosm, which is like a Vegas-style sphere in Las Vegas and beyond. They're bringing one to Detroit as well. It's phenomenal. We're bringing a Live Nation, Chop Steakhouse, Shake Shack. There's a bunch of cool, the Ice Cream Factory. There's a bunch of great places that are going in Centennial Yards. And in the heart of it all will be the Irish Exit. I'm a co-owner alongside my friend Pierce White and the Dead Rabbit Group. The Dead Rabbit Group have won, their bar in New York has won World Bar of the Year twice. They've got such tremendous bars and concepts already. So this is one of their brands, the Irish Exit. There is one already in New York that does tremendously well. And we're bringing the Irish Exit to Centennial Yards. So we're going to have modern Irish hospitality mixed with that Southern charm, and a great pint of Guinness, craft cocktails, lovely pub grub, good food. And we're steps from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, steps from the World Cup, steps from State Farm Arena and the Georgia World Congress Center.
How did, Kevin, Atlanta, Georgia become, in some respects, the sort of center, the core, the sphere, the middle of the sphere of American soccer?
Arthur Blank. Make no mistake about it. Arthur Blank is responsible for the majority of what we're talking about right now. Atlanta, you're right. Atlanta has become the epicenter for soccer in North America, especially here in the United States. Think about where we were 10 years ago in Atlanta. Atlanta United had not kicked a football. Mercedes-Benz Stadium was under construction. US soccer was still firmly planted in Chicago, Illinois. There was no distant dream of an NWSL team coming to Atlanta. The World Cup was nowhere near our radar. How about the Club World Cup, Copa America? All these things have happened in the past decade because of Arthur Blank's vision, and not only his vision, his commitment to the game, financial commitment to the game. It's been amazing to witness, from Atlanta United shattering the records, attendance records at the Benz, to winning a championship, MLS Cup in 2018, Campeones Cup, US Open Cup the following year, and then everything that's happened since then. And I think building the Arthur M. Blank US training center, investing $50 million in that, is a huge power play by Arthur Blank to bring US soccer to Georgia and also have a first ever training base. US soccer's never had a training base before. So to do that and to have so much of US soccer coming through Georgia now, it's such an exciting time for our game. And welcome to NWSL then in 2 more years.
Yeah. You worked in Chicago. You have family connections in Chicago. You're an Irish citizen and an American citizen through family, right? How did you then end up in Atlanta? What was
because I lived in Chicago for 7 years. My wife is from Chicago, and I got a job offer off beIN Sports to go there and be a host and commentator. Dream job. Absolute dream job. So we had La Liga and Serie A. We had U.S. men's national team games. We had the South American CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers, which were my favorite nights of the year. We had so many great properties. So it was a no-brainer to go there with my wife and I. We got married the week before we moved there. And Meg packed up all the boxes while I was commentating on 2 Chicago games in Montreal and Toronto on one trip. And she had everything packed up. When I got back from that trip, we moved to Miami. I spent 3.5, nearly 4 years in Miami, wonderful times, but I could tell that things weren't going well with the network. You just got a sense from within. And Kay Murray and I were the best of friends there. She's at ESPN now. And we talk about how the writing might be on the wall here for us to make a move and go elsewhere. And Kay obviously ended up at ESPN with her husband, Matteo Benetti. I looked at Atlanta. It was already a city that I was in a lot because I was commentating for Atlanta United games on the weekends. And I had a relationship and I started chatting with people from CNN. So CNN International said, yeah, you come on, you talk soccer on Champions League nights, things like that. I had the Atlanta United job. And I figured I'd just sort it out as I go. I'm much better at that versus making sure that a full, complete plan is in place. I'm better at just winging it, I think. And that's what it felt like in the moment. And it offered an awful lot of anxiety because COVID hit very shortly after we moved and all the jobs went down the toilet. And then I had to kind of start from scratch again. And I'm grateful like WWE came along in that sort of a moment and a different path that I hadn't planned for. So it's been a wild journey, but Atlanta's been wonderful. And we just absolutely love where we live.
And I'm going to presume this, that you are lucky that your bride was willing to go on that sort of uncertain journey with you.
It's the biggest decision you'll ever make, as you know. And like my wife, Meg, is just pure sunshine. She sees the positive in every situation. She's up for the journey. That's just the way she is. And so, I can't say enough about her, because imagine she said, no, I don't want to leave Chicago. My parents are here. My sister's here. Instead, she said, yeah, that'll be a great chapter in our life. So why not go and give this a go? And then Atlanta was the same thing. And I'll never forget, we were leaving the apartment in Miami and she was just in tears and sitting on the floor and saying, I just don't want to let go of this. This has just been a great chapter in life. But, we had kids, or we had a child at the time. Maisie, our daughter, followed shortly after. And this has been the right move. We're in a great suburb outside Atlanta, and the friends, the community, it's just wonderful here.
So you still do a little CNN, is that right?
No, but I'm close with them there. So
Okay,
you know, I
okay.
speak with them every now and then. I popped in recently before MLS Cup, actually,
Oh,
in
so you just
December in
do
the
a
middle of
guest
the show.
appearance? Because I thought
Yeah,
I saw you on there not
yeah,
long ago. Yeah,
yeah.
but you don't do anything with WWE any longer.
No, WWE ended, what is it, 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
About 2 years. I was 3 years there. And the most unpredictable journey that I'll ever take in my life was that
Yeah,
journey.
yeah.
But it also came to a natural conclusion where I was so happy to just go all in on soccer. It came at a perfect time where MLS 360 was offered to me to be the lead host. And I had been calling games the year before. And so to be in studio every week meant that I could be in WWE calling, Friday Night SmackDown, say, for example, in Seattle. And then that's on a Friday night. And then I'd have to be in New York on a Saturday morning. And it just meant that I was gearing up for something that was realistically impossible.
We should talk a little bit about MLS 360 and the wrap-up show. Basically, is here's what happened today,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm in the studio reliving all of this for you, and we're dropping in sound bites, and that's the wrap-up show. What's the philosophy and the delivery of MLS 360? If you could kind of describe that for
The
us.
philosophy for me is to inform and entertain, to offer a high octane show that you could be chopping up a cucumber, cooking the dinner in your kitchen and have it on. And when you hear me raise the level and say, Dax, I love you, but we got to go. You know that there's something big happening and you can go in and watch it. So you can essentially listen if you need to as a podcast, and the big moments are the key play alerts. And you can basically jump in and check out the goals, check out the big moments from big, refereeing decisions and video review controversies to hitting the crossbar goals. Those are the key play alerts. So it is a wild and wonderful journey over the course of 5.5 hours. I host countdown before that, so that's 6.5. And sometimes, like next Wednesday night, we do wrap up immediately after because it's a Wednesday night, or on the Saturday before Easter we did it. So there's no toilet breaks. It's straight through for me for
Oh
seven and a
no!
half, seven and a
Oh
half
no!
hours. Yeah.
I just heard you say no toilet breaks.
That's
Wait a
it.
second. No,
The
that
truth.
that takes some training. I'll tell you that.
You got to plan for it. You got to prepare accordingly. Yeah.
So you have Kleshton, McCarty, and Wright Phillips that
Yeah.
sort of rotate in with you during this
Wright
adventure, right?
Phillips is there every week with
Yeah.
Kale and Kyle, and then it's Dax and Sasha, Kleshton and Wright Phillips that rotate in and out when they call games as well.
What's the groove, different groove? I know this, but I want the audience to understand the different groove. You've done play-by-play, and now the studio work. What's the different kind of groove in preparation and delivery for you?
I think they're very different, yet very similar in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. The common denominator for me in any of this, MLS 360, studio hosting, calling games, and I say MLS 360 separately, it's studio hosting, but it's a bit of play-by-play. It's a hybrid role, 360. And I think the common denominator is storytelling. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that if you tune into MLS 360, you understand the stakes, both individual and collective, for each team. You understand that if you tune in and you know nothing about Nashville, this team that wears a yellow jersey from Music City, you know nothing about them, that by the end of it, you will have a greater understanding of the BJ Callahan movement and Sam Surridge and everything he's achieved in MLS, but also the new signings and the direction of the football club. You know that, but I know that by the end of the show, we'll offer that to you. So it's inform and entertain, have fun along the way. And it's supposed to be a show that I know that people won't be glued to it. It's a bit like Red Zone. Like, folks will have it on and they may be making the dinner, like I said, or they've got to jump out for a second and come back to it. We're on air for 5.5 hours. So inform and entertain, have fun along the way, and hopefully it's a good experience for people watching.
And sneak out to the men's room every once in a while just for your own health.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we record this on Wednesday, April 15th, Nashville's the first place team in the East. And in the West, it's Vancouver and San Jose. You might have figured Vancouver, but San Jose, are they the surprise team? Now, arena, the factor, of course, but are they the surprise team? And they have the big match of the week this week, right? LAFC and San Jose, right?
This is the ultimate litmus test for
Yeah.
San Jose this weekend. San Jose have been more than a surprise. 18 months ago, when they wrapped up their 2024 campaign, they went down as the weakest defense in MLS history. The worst defense ever. Nobody expected that a year and a half on, Bruce Arena would be the coach, bringing in MLS draft picks, homegrown talent, and MLS trades. And yet here they are. You know, they have Timo Werner, but they haven't been relying on Timo Werner to deliver for them. He's coming back from injury this weekend. They haven't needed him to be where they are today. It's players like Nico Chikeris, who's a homegrown player. It's an MLS trade like Preston Judd, who was formerly with the LA Galaxy. These are guys that are reaching another level. And the continued message from Bruce Arena is the collective. The collective has got us here. There's a real buy-in from this group. And it's further evidence that Bruce Arena is the greatest coach to ever coach in MLS.
Yeah, and I was, I live in the middle of the country, and I broadcast the Earthquakes games for many years, so there's still something a little bit in my
absolutely.
in
I
my
remember
heart
you well. Yeah.
So we were in Kansas City the other night, and the sort of chatter is, who are those guys?
Yeah,
right? Who are those guys out there? And I
think they were a much better team.
And I think Chikeris, not only he's not old, he's still a kid, kind of, but his emergence in a role that's better defined, really well defined, and his maturity has made a difference in that club. Really,
he's class. He's 20 years of age, and he's got another level to reach. And I know that there's people out there that haven't quite seen enough yet, and there's other people that are like, no, this guy's a baller. And there's people getting considered for the national team, and he's right at that level. So I'm waiting to see what Nico Chikeris can offer over a larger sample size to truly tell how good he is. But right now, he's absolutely passing the test.
Yeah. So what is a Major League Soccer broadcaster will do during the World Cup when you all get a little bit of a break from MLS? Are you doing any World Cup work, or are you just going to keep that pub going?
Keep the pub going, of course. And I've signed 2 deals ahead of the World Cup, which I'm really excited about. I don't know how if I can say yet, to be honest, John, but one of them I'll tell you. One of them is I'll be hosting the FIFA Fan Fest in Atlanta.
Great.
And one of them is with a broadcaster. That's just yet to be signed on the dotted line, but it's pretty much done. So I'm excited to do both, and I'm grateful to MLS and Apple for allowing me jump out and stay really busy during the World Cup. And obviously we'll be our friend Kirk Reynolds will be keeping us really busy with interviews representing MLS all throughout the tournament as well.
Well, as you know, I go back way back with our friend Kirk Reynolds, and it's nice to get a plug for him in this conversation.
He's the best.
He is. Kevin, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's always great to chat with you, and good luck. Best of luck with the Irish Exit, the pub near the
Join us sometime. Point on me, John. Come on.
I will. I'll just have to get there. And I'll have maybe more than one pint. So.
Exactly. Which one, as we say?
I don't know.
I'm going for one. Which one?
I don't know. Yeah. Just one in front of me.
Cheers, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Kevin Egan is the host of MLS Countdown. MLS 360 does MLS Wrap-Up on Apple TV. He's got a pub that he's opening in Atlanta, and of course some World Cup work as well. And we appreciate him giving us a little bit of his time on the Soccer Media Podcast. And we hope maybe you can pass us along. You can subscribe to us. You can like us. Maybe send us some ideas. It's a bit of a new venture still, and we love bringing it to you. It's our look at the soccer media business. Again, I'm John Shrader. Hope to see you next time on the Soccer Media Podcast.